Hey Ben, Christoph here. I wanted to give you some feedback on the PR that you sent over. First of all, awesome work. Looks really good. It's super cool that you were so quickly able to implement a lot of this stuff. I hope it was easy for you to work with this. Feel free to ask questions anytime. We're here happy to help. So here I took a look at your screenshots. I downloaded the latest version. I wasn't able to get the Electron app running with the latest UI, but the web app. So I used the screenshots and the web app to gather my feedback here. And some of it is just questions, feel free to ignore them or answer them. And some things are kind of minor and nitpicky too. So, I'm just curious to hear, I'll just lay it all out and, you can respond to it as you desire. So I think here in the preferences, I think collapsing this is a good idea. Here with this paste the URL, I was wondering why it's blue. And the reason why I'm wondering is if if you look at it at normal scale, the contrast is kind of low. And I don't think I've seen this treatment of the blue label anywhere else. So as a user, I'm not quite sure what to make of it, of why it is blue. So just one question. I think you also switched the location of these buttons and made this one blue, or highlighting the primary action blue, which is really good. Then here I had some more detailed questions. So in the top left, I saw that there's this collapse option now for the wallet and device list. And I was wondering why the button itself does not go away. So if I collapse the wallets list here, I don't see the wallets anymore, but I still see the add new wallet button. So I was just curious if that's intentional. Then here, one thing I saw, and I'm not really sure why that's the case, all the buttons here, when I hover them, the cursor changes to a hand, except for these here. So these boxes here, I hover them, the cursor doesn't change. So it's a really minor thing. I was just curious if you know why that might be. And the other thing I was wondering is if it could automatically test the connections when I land on this page. So if I come here, I see a little spinner here in the corner, and then it tells me, okay, connection successful, no devices detected. I think kind of like this here, just a little checkbox or so, or some feedback right away as I work on this. And then, yeah, same thing for here with test connection. I think it's a good idea to actually test with plugging in a device. But I was wondering also if you could just do it in line here. I guess the question is then here, is the user really wondering if the connection in general is working, or are they wondering if the device is also being detected? No big deal. Either way, maybe just something to discuss. Going over here. So I was wondering if the top here where it says HWI bridge settings Specter desktop custom, wondering if it could just be called settings so it doesn't change with these tabs. And then also if this is called USB devices, then should probably also be USB device settings or so, because now we have HWI bridge, then we have USB devices, then we have hardware devices bridge. In this sentence, I was wondering if you could remove the word hardware devices, which appears twice in this sentence. So just something shorter that just allows Spectre to communicate with your hardware devices over USB. But I think that's a good simplification here. Makes a big difference. As I switch these options around here, when I select remote or advanced configurations, this option here pops in. And the thing is that it pops in below the option that I've selected. So I click on this option, and all of a sudden what I'm looking at, the interactive element that I'm using, moves down out of my view. And it happens really abruptly. So I was wondering, so two potential ideas to resolve this. Either this box here doesn't appear at the top of the page, but it appears here right above the Save Changes button, or it can only appear after you press Save Changes. So as user, I'm making my changes, everything looks fine, I press Save, and then in the case that I'm saving a remote or advanced option here, then it will tell me, hey, make sure to also adjust your other settings. But I like this. I think that's a good idea. I like this a lot. having this informational thing here. The one thing I was wondering with this is that there are two different styles now, I think, for these informational boxes here. This one's in the sidebar, and this one's here in the main content body. And they use different icons here. This is info, this is warning, this one has an outline, this one's just an outline style. Well, this one's filled. Maybe that could be standardized, just something to think about. The here with this text, so I'm curious if this could also be a little bit more clear. So select this if you run Specter on this computer, and that's why I was wondering if as a user, if can user clearly tell the difference between where Specter runs and where they access this from. So when I access Specter on a remote server, I still might think as a novice user who doesn't totally get this that, well, it runs on this computer, so I'm looking at it, so clearly it's running here. While it's really just, you're just a client to it and it's actually running somewhere else. So I was wondering if that could be changed to just clarifying the hardware devices are connected to the same computer that Spectre runs on or is installed on. Maybe that's even better. Also not totally sure on the final wording here, but I feel like that could clarify things a bit. And then advanced configuration. So when I select this, the only thing that appears is the HWI bridge URL. So it's a single configuration. And then I was wondering if we could just say this here, like enter a custom hardware bridge URL. So, it could be just custom URL or a custom connection, and then it just says enter your custom URL. The other thing could be maybe, I'm curious why people would do this. Is it for development purposes? Is it, let's say, if you use, I don't know, Raspberry Blitz or something else? Like, what are the situations that people use this on for? Maybe that could be pointed out. Similar to how you've pointed out in, where is it? On the landing page, I think, where you say, this is helpful. This is something you should do. What the hell's going on here? If you run on Umbrel or MyNode. Okay, cool. Here I was wondering if you could close this gap and connect these two options, similar to in this mockup. So that way the form is directly connected to the option. Just tightens things up a little bit. Also here, just really minor stuff. I think it would be a little bit nicer if the line height of it would be a little bit tighter. So when a bullet goes to 2 lines, it's a little bit tighter here and maybe a little bit more spacing in between the bullets. And I personally will also put the test connection button on maybe on a new line. And I don't think you need the exclamation point here either. Just really minor stuff here. But sorry, as a designer, that always stands out. So here I was wondering, this is something I wasn't able to test. And I was wondering if I can dismiss this, or how long does this appear? Does it automatically know when I've set this up correctly? And if it automatically knows if things are working correctly, then should it ask a question here? Or should it just say, hey, you need to still set up your remote machine? And then this is a pretty long sentence here. If you run Spectre on remote machines, such as an Umbrel or a MyNode, you need to update Spectre USB settings to connect hardware wallets via USB. So you have the word Spectre 1, 2, 3 times in these 2 lines, and then the word USB twice in here. Curious if that could be tightened up a little bit. Alternatively, you might not need to, you could even remove some detail and just point people to the settings page, and this could be just view settings or update settings. I don't think you need to click here. I think you could also left align this and tighten up the spacing a little bit. And another thing I was wondering here is, so these boxes here, there's a lot of space here on the right-hand side. So maybe those could be a little bit less narrow, and this box could be a little bit wider, so they're all the same size. It's a really minor thing. I think it just looks a little bit more tidy. And again, here, it says plug in your device, and it shows, it tells me so when a device was successfully detected. But I was wondering if at this point already it could tell me, especially when I'm testing the connection, if it could say bridge detected or bridge connection successful. Um, bridge detected, bridge connection successful. The first one, does the bridge even exist, or does the URL just blank out? Then does the bridge allow the connection? And then the third one is um, a device was detected. Because as a user, for example, when I tested this, I just wanted to make sure that the connection worked, but I didn't really want to dig out my hardware wallet at that moment. So if I understand that, okay, connection successful, then that's kind of good enough for me. Maybe that's only the case while I'm testing things, but that's kind of what my thinking was here. So it's a lot of details. Thank you for being so receptive to feedback. Let me know if it's too much or if the wrong feedback or if it's not helpful. It's super cool that you're implementing all of this. Hope it's helpful to the users, and let me know what you think. Thanks.